Hey, Sam, guess what?
What?
It's a Marty party, baby.
Yes, it is. Boy, Andrew, that was a thrilling, stressful game.
To put it lightly, man, if any of y'all managed to get more than 2 or 3 hours of sleep before work, good for you. Today was brought to you by coffee and Red Bull. So happy we got the win, but let's get into it.
Oh, I know. What a great win it was. And obviously, we'll get into it here. But just remember, we have a great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Reports, all one word. It's a great deal if you're trying to save money on some tickets. We know it's playoff season right now. And I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in these next two games at Ottawa, but if Ottawa does win one of them, then there'll be another chance for you to use it at home here. So, again, just throwing that out there. And remember, if you're listening to us, or sorry, watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And also, if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcast, please leave a rating and a review. Really helps us out. Also, another thing too. So I kind of forgot to say this, Andrew, but it kind of went into our rule last night, but I'm just going to put it in here right now. But if a game goes into overtime, a playoff game goes into overtime almost at all, let's just say, because eventually, if the Hurricanes keep advancing, we're going to get to 8 o'clock games. Mm-hmm. And with both of us having full-time jobs, if these games go into overtime at all, expect an episode not the next morning, expect an episode the next night, because again, we need the sleep. I know you probably want to hear us as fast as you can. It's just we have jobs.
Yeah, no, and frankly, if you don't like it, again, use the code for SeatGeek. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff, because that's the only way that we can make this better. Let me go into work tomorrow and quit.
Yeah, and
a boy can dream.
That's yeah. That's actually really funny. But I was going to say something, then I forgot. Oh well, let's get into the game, Andrew. So, first period, I think no surprise at all. We see Anderson; he's a starter in this game. And in the first period, on the power play, we knew in the first game, Andrew, power play. I mean, power play, it started out a little bit rough, but I think you and I can admit it got better as the more power plays as they got. Mm-hmm. But in this power play, Carolina, man, they get the first and only power play goal in the game with Logan Stankoven, and what a great shot that was from, I believe it was Taylor Hall. Yeah, Taylor Hall. And Jackson Blake gets an assist. Man, Andrew, that trio they're playing so well right now.
Yeah, the way that they're going, they're at the top line right now. The way that they're going, and Stankoven, we talked about the last episode. I think he's got a little bit of that Jordan Martinook in him, mm-hmm. And when the lights get brighter, he rises to the occasion. Everyone who was talking about Ottawa is going to be the bigger team, and that's going to be their advantage. Stankoven took that personally, and I still think the jury's still out a little bit about whether he's a bona fide 2C or not, but you want to talk about making the best impression you can. 2 games, can't really ask for a whole lot more, man.
Exactly. I think the only thing with Stankoven, again, I think he's been playing great. There were a few instances I thought later in the game where he kind of turned the puck over a little bit at times. But other than that, he has been playing overall a very good, solid game. I think most of the players, just the way we've been playing, been very, very solid. And then in the second period, we extend the lead, Andrew, and it is 2-0. You have Sebastian Aho scoring on a 2-on-1 rush with Jordan Stahl. So Honestly, it wasn't even a shot for Aho. It was basically a deflection off of his stick. What a great goal that was.
Yeah, anybody who questions Jordan Stahl as a captain at this point, you have to explain yourself at this point because in these first two games of this series, he's been incredible. I didn't give him one of my 3 stars only because of just how hard it was to give outside of, in my opinion, Stankoven and Freddie, but easily could have been the first star of this game. Sneaky, an incredible game for the captain.
It really was. And then came Ottawa, and he scoring 2 goals. And like, here's the thing, Andrew, I think you and I knew at some point, like, Ottawa's going to be scoring their goals. They just start. They're not going to get shut out every game. We kind of saw this coming. And I was kind of teasing, be like, I expected a shutout every game to one of my friends, but
Freddie's trash.
yeah. No, I am not saying Freddie's trash at all.
Bring
The
back
first
Eddie
goal,
Lack.
yeah.
Sorry, Eddie, you just caught shrapnel for no
Bring
reason.
back Eddie
buddy.
Oh, and
Lock 'em,
bring back
tacos.
Dan Ellis.
Oh boy, Curtis McElady.
Yeah. Oh man, blast from the past. Okay, back to the game. But I mean, the first goal, I honestly don't blame that on Anderson at all. You have Drake Batherson shooting it up. Like, that was just bad luck right there for the Canes because it goes off of a Slavin's skate and back to Batherson, and he gets a good top portion of the net view and he scores on it. I don't blame Anderson at all for that goal.
No, and everything happened so quickly that how can you? And Freddie was reacting to what looked like it was going to be a pass to the scene by Batherson. And you know what? Kudos to him. The pass gets interrupted and he's immediately able to turn that into a shot that was obviously a perfect one. So yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot more you can do than that other than just, game recognized game. Batherson, the future is bright for that guy. Really, I think the future is bright for Ottawa in general. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves. I think we know where I think this series is going to go, but that's a case in point, man. I think that they're building something in Ottawa.
Oh, I do too. Like, I mean, there's just too much talent there amongst the forward group. Funny enough, I don't know if you knew, Andrew, but last night the whole Kachuk family was in Raleigh watching the game.
I have thoughts on that, and we'll get to that after the review because
Really?
there's a couple of tangents I'm going to go on.
Interesting. Okay, alrighty.
I will try to keep it brief, but I have 2 thoughts that I want to get into about the Kachucks.
Oh man, can't wait to hear that. But it's 2-1. Carolina is still leading, and then came, and honestly, you look at it. It is a bit of a bet. Yeah, Anderson cannot. It was a bad goal. Anderson could not allow that. But with that being said, Anderson, he just put that in one ear, out the other, and just forget it. And to me, that's a goalie that I want to have on my team because he was like, you know what? I messed up. Move on. It's exactly what he did. He did not let that trouble him at all. In fact, he used that at failure, so to speak, or whatever. I think failure is a little bit of a harsh term, but he turned it into a lesson moment, and he just kept going. Anderson continued to make great saves beyond after that.
Yeah, and to give Freddie a little bit of slack, I think if you're going to talk about putting a shot 5-hole, I don't think you could do it more perfectly than that shot. You can tell by Freddie's reaction though that he knows that can't go.
Yeah.
I think if we're gonna zoom out and look at the series as a whole so far, I think both goaltenders who have been just incredible, and for 2 goalies that both fan bases were kind of nervous about, have answered the bell. If you love goaltending, this series has been incredible so far. But I think they both have had a 5-hole goal. As PK Subban said 10 times, leaky
Yeah.
goal. But you know what, man, that's what the playoffs are all about. And we talk about this during the regular season sometimes about how there's some wins, there's some moments of overcoming adversity that you hope builds that belief in the locker room. And I think that their ability to have that happen and then bounce back the way they did. And really, Freddie had to make some amazing saves almost immediately after that
He
second
did.
goal went in. And in the past, maybe you see Freddie be rattled. Maybe you see the team in front of him, needing to kind of gather themselves and they get caught. I think there's been so many things we've seen in these two games that I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because though I do have a lot of respect for that team that they're building, aside from the fact that I think that their toughness is all theatrical. I think that if you actually square up with them, then Jordan Stahl is going to clock you and put your tough guy on the ground. But aside from the very obvious phony theatrical toughness, and I say that as someone who is 6'4" and has played sports and has been able to do the I'm taller than you, then so you're going to back down nonsense, which is fake, by the way. This team feels different, man. There's something about it. There's not that same kind of, as some people would call it, the candy canes. I don't feel that about this team. This team has a pushback. It has a jam. It has a, I don't care if my shots aren't going in. What I'm doing is going to work eventually. And that's what they need to have. And this game should, whatever questions they might have had about the system and what they're doing, which I'm guessing was already gone by now. But if there was any even creeping in back there, this game, that should be all gone.
Yeah, I'll admit, Carolina just stuck to the formula and just kept going at the game that they know how to deploy. So kudos to them for that. Really, just kudos. But regardless, it's tied up heading into the third period. And Andrew, third period, no score, to be honest. And I mean, I can tell one thing though when it comes to uh the Canes fans, is that I could tell we were really hoping to get another power play than just the one power play that we got.
Yeah, I hate talking about the officiating more than we have to talk about them with the overtime goal that wasn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it felt like you could get away with anything, which playoff hockey, if you're going to call it that way, fine. If it's going to be a battle like that, then it is what it is. I understand it. Carolina only gets one power play, but was it Jackson Blake that got pinched after the whistle by two guys and had the audacity
Yes.
to put up for
Mm-hmm.
himself, and he goes to the box for that? Spetch got a penalty. He had two penalties. One,
Yep.
I think Drew went down a little bit soft, which again, theatrical toughness. But the second one for what, coming in and almost playing kind of peacemaker in a scrum. I don't understand a lot of the officiating tonight, because if you're gonna embrace it's the playoffs, let the boys play, then do it. You can't.
They should have established that in the first period, I think.
Right. And I thought that that's what they were thinking when they did send Blake off, because it was offsetting minors in that case.
Mm-hmm.
That was,
Yep.
in my opinion, the referees trying to get control of the game. And conceptually, I respect that, but you can't do it in an instance where it's very clearly one smaller player is getting bullied by two guys trying to send a message. There were so many opportunities earlier in the game to do that. And when we're looking at the Hurricanes only getting one power play, which, I'm sorry, you're not playing against the Ottawa Senators and only having one penalty committed against you. I think even Ottawa fans would have no problem with me saying that. It's how they it's how they need to play to win this series, quite frankly. But don't want to harp on it too much, because we're already going to have to get into the offsides.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. I'm just trying to think of kind of anything else in the regulation time window. I would say probably the best period in that regulation time window. Funny enough, I actually thought it was the second period, even though Ottawa scored 2 goals there. I thought Carolina was at their best in the second period. I thought when it came to like maybe the third period and probably into maybe the first and maybe a little bit of the second overtime, I do think Carolina Um, we're starting to make a little bit of some lazy puck management issues, just a little bit.
Yeah, they were definitely, no pun intended, they were weathering the storm.
They were.
And because Ottawa definitely had the momentum, you could tell that Ottawa,
There were times where
recognized.
Ottawa had where you thought Ottawa was probably going to score because they did have momentums at points.
Oh yeah, no, Freddie and the posts stole this game,
Yeah.
and a couple of good defensive plays. Off the top of my head, I'm forgetting it because it's been 24 hours, but uh, Stankoven pulling a puck off the goal line, like dialed in,
Yes.
great defense. Shout out to the defenseman though in that kind of rough third period and overtime, just committing to blocking shots. And my my namesake, my long lost brother, Keandre Miller, this was the arrival game for him. I think he was their best defenseman, and that's saying something because I thought all six guys were excellent tonight or last night.
Oh yeah, they definitely were. And I mean, in terms of the pairing, I thought like the Slave and Chatfield pair, they were good. But to me, the pair that stuck out to me the most was the Miller Walker pair because it seems like they were just using Miller using his reach, poke checking the puck, obviously, and Walker. I'm telling you, he's busy. There are times where he gets really, really physical with Walker, and I kind of like that. So it's a very good pair, and Ghost and Nikishin, like you and I can tell, like this Nikishin in this year's playoffs is completely different to last year's, and he has improved so much. Like it makes me be like, yes, thank you. Still need to see some development, some,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a lot better compared to last year.
Yeah, let's not forget, still technically a rookie.
Yep.
This is his first real actual crack at the playoffs. I know he got games last year, but that's not the same. That's he's getting off the plane from Russia
Mm-hmm.
and trying to understand Rod talking to him, and now you're going against the Florida Panthers. Like
Yeah.
that's no small task for a veteran coming off the bench. Never mind a kid who's trying to figure out what food in this country he likes. Just little things like that I think we take for granted sometimes when these guys come over. But he played more minutes than Ghost, and I think that says something about him, not about Ghost. We all know Ghost is great. Happy
Yep.
birthday,
Mm-hmm.
or happy belated birthday, Mr. Ghost Bear. But Nikishin, you can tell he's earning the trust of Rod, and that's for a rookie defenseman. That is not something that is just handed out, and we know that about Rod. Maybe even to a flaw at times in his past coaching career, where he leans to experience over maybe higher end skill. There's a debate on that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to make because I think I usually do actually agree with him on some of the choices he's made. But for Nikishin to be playing the minutes and the situations that he's playing, that says something about what you're seeing both at practice and in the games.
It definitely does. I do remember one thing. Ottawa, they did make a bit of a line juggle because they put Brady Kachuk with Tim Stusla, and I will admit that those two players together at times they did test Carolina's defense. They absolutely did.
Tim
But
Stützle's going to have nightmares about this game for a
yeah, he
long
is.
time because, oh my goodness,
He had a gaping open net, if you remember that.
low key, I think the story of Game 3 might be, can either Tim Stützle or Svechnikov pop the lid off their scoring, because both of those
Mm-hmm.
players, they haven't gotten the reward for it, at least in terms of goals. I think you can make an argument, definitely for Ottawa, that Tim Stützle has been their best player. That guy is incredible. I don't think he's as good as Sebastian Aho. I think that was a very common argument I saw leading up to the series. I think y'all are
Mm-hmm.
nuts, but Svechnikov, he hasn't gotten a goal yet, but super impactful
Oh
and has
yes.
a willingness to shoot. And I think once the lid pops off for either of those guys, it could shift the series.
Yeah, it definitely could. And another thing is like when it comes to like Stutzel, Svechnikov, the way they play is completely different. Like we all know Svetch is more of a power forward. But I mean, heading into this game, I think you could have said a little bit of the comparison with Stutzel and Aho, because in the first
Mhm.
game, like Aho, like I'm not saying that the first line was bad. It's just they didn't have the that the Stankoven line had. And
Mhm.
now here's the thing: it's a tall task. We're going up against the Stutzel line. I get it, but this was the game. Again, I still think we're still trying to with Jarvis. I will admit, there's something with Jarvis. I wonder if he's 100% healthy.
Mhm.
Again, I'm not saying he's playing bad, not at all. It's just we have not seen the Jarvis that we have seen before. But with Aho, this game, boy, did we see how good Aho was.
Mhm.
He really cranked it up, and I was happy to see that because like he's the face of your franchise, and it's nice to see that, knowing that there are times where he does have consistency issues.
Offensively, at least, definitely.
Offensively, yes.
I think even Jarvis. I think that top line, for what it's worth, if that top line defensively can hold serve throughout these playoffs, if they can be a net neutral, if they can defensively shut down the other team's top line, you'll take that because if we're gonna take the other team's best, shut it down, and then if you want to have a contest of who has the best depth scoring, I'll take that against maybe anybody in the league. If you want it to be, the
Yeah.
Stankoven line and the Jankowski line, who's going to put in some goals, which shout out to that fourth line. Um,
At fourth line, I thought they played a lot better game two than they did in game one.
in overtime, Carrier was super noticeable
Oh,
to
he
the point
was.
that it's interesting for any new listeners who are just coming on now that the playoffs have started. Thank you for being here. This is my first season doing this, so it's my first time getting the experience of having a hot take. And like, you want the Canes just to score no matter what, but I'd be lying if I don't say I like being proven right. And I've said it a couple of times during the regular season and in the
Mm-hmm.
preview that I think Will Carrier is going to have a impactful goal in these playoffs. And man,
Yeah.
he came close a couple of times in this one, man.
Oh, I know. I mean, that fourth line, they had quite a few chances. To me, there
Should have
was
scored the game winner.
yes, should have. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk.
Actually, Jarvis should have had the assist on the game winner. So Jarvis kind of
Yes.
got robbed of having his good moment too, because he actually was aggressive and put the puck on net. But apparently, possession and control are different things now. And Mark Messier apparently doesn't know anything about hockey because he was confused too. So
Everybody
arguably,
was confused with that
yeah.
call.
So debatably, the greatest center of all time didn't know what was happening. So, what are your thoughts? Because I
Yeah,
have to gather mine.
okay, so obviously it all started with Stahl passing the puck to Martinook, who looked like he was about to go on a breakaway,
Hmm.
and he draws a penalty. So Carolina's about to go on the power play here,
Hmm.
and we're able to keep the puck obviously for a good duration of time. What was it? You had Jarvis shooting the puck, and then Jankowski, he gets the rebound. We won. We won, right?
Hmm.
Well, officials look at it and then they're like, actually, and I mean, one thing about this is it was really close. Very, very close. And that's where the debate lies. Did Stahl have pure possession of the puck, or did he control it? Because the thing is if he had possession of the puck, then yes, that is offsides. But if he had control, because isn't I believe that's what it is. Is if he had control, then
Yeah,
it would not have be offsides.
right. And from hearing even how Jordo talked about it, it sounded like he gathered the puck and he looked up to make a pass, and go figure, this object that's on ice slid a bit, a half inch off the stick. I don't see how in a game like hockey you don't factor in the fact that the puck isn't on your stick the entire time. If you're going up the ice by yourself, you're pushing it along. You're not cradling it the whole way. That's how you play the sport.
And
So
it's so close. It's so close. Like, you need conclusive evidence to overturn what you just said was a good goal on the ice. And I didn't see anything that was conclusive. That was my issue.
Yeah, and it reminded me of those times where if you're watching football and you're debating on is it a catch, is it a fumble, when a receiver, first catches the ball, it's that stupid terminology. Did he make a football move? It was that type of nonsense where it's this needs to be a black and white thing with the offsides. And the biggest critique I've heard from, again, there's so many talking heads that come out of the woodwork, but the ones that I do respect and follow, I'm going to just kind of pair it with what they've been saying. That call goes against the spirit of that rule. It goes against the spirit of the challenge. And one more thought on this, because, it's hot take central. There's people who didn't talk about hockey 2 weeks ago that are getting involved.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone not named Paul Whitney, Keith Yandel, or Paul Bissonnette that works for Barstool, they don't know the first bleeping thing about hockey. I don't care what they have to say, especially if it's going to be, oh, well, why was the bowl half empty? Because the NHL kind of dropped the ball on how you should have handled that situation, and a lot of fans, trying to beat that Lenovo traffic, which I haven't been to a game in Lenovo in like 3 years, unfortunately, and I have nightmares about it still.
Yeah, I will admit, when it comes to playoff time, traffic, it can be pretty bad, but still, like, it's frustrating. It just is. I want to hear. I know the episode hasn't come out yet; it'll come out tomorrow. But I want to hear Elliot Friedman's thoughts on that, because he's probably going to say something.
Yep, he'll say something. He'll turn it into an insult about poor Kyle Boo Caucus because now Jeff Merrick's not there to smack him. Which shout out Jeff Merrick. I think, with all due respect to my God, I'm drawing a blank. I just said his name.
Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle. Jeff Merrick, I think, was just such a great ambassador for the game and really of the country of Canada in kind of a funny way. I think 32 Thoughts is still the pinnacle of just pure informational hockey podcast. Like, we try to zhuzh it up with some entertainment. Obviously, like Dangle and Chicklets, that's what they're going for. But in terms of just like, being like a scholarly podcast, they do it best. But Jeff Merrick is one of my personal favorite people in the business.
Oh yeah, he's great. He runs The Sheet over on YouTube, and I think it turns into a podcast episode after that. So yeah, I think he does a great job. He definitely brings on pretty decent people. But I mean, that I will admit, like, we talk about the informational side of that call, but the emotional side was just so hard. The fact that you thought you won, and I screamed when Jankowski scored, and then the thought of it being overturned and it being 2-2 was like silent, completely silent. So it one thing to consider, honestly, is we talk about the informational side of that call, but it was very emotional for Canes fans, obviously. And because of that, I mean, let's just say even some Hurricanes fan is like very outlandish in his judgment on that. I understand it because of how emotional that was.
Oh yeah, I think some people could definitely stand to maybe not hop on social media the second something happens.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in that predicament a lot where maybe you're being a little unhinged and do your thing. Like, I'm not here to tell anybody how to fan or what to do with, especially if your name's attached to it. Like, it's one thing, these people who, create a whole fake online persona.
Oh yeah, I hate
troll. Yeah, no, not a fan. Stand by your word. Don't be a coward. But again, just go into those moments that champion teams build on. That could have sank them. That could have given
It
Ottawa
could
life.
have,
And
but
instead, what did they
they
do?
kept they kept their
Mhm,
foot on the pedal.
So I'm so proud of this team, man. I don't think, well, obviously the series isn't over, but I think Game 3 is going to tell us a lot. The two questions I have going into Game 3 that I think we should discuss. One is more likely than the other, but I think the other is worth bringing up. Who starts in net? And just
Mm-hmm.
because of how Ottawa is probably going to try to play it, again, I think their toughness is fake. Do you consider sitting, say, an Eric Robertson for a Nick Delorier just to have that, as tough as Brady Kachuk thinks he is, if you think fighting Jordan Stahl is bad, we got this lunatic who, from the 1 point he scored during the regular season, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like watching a madman on Christmas. It's like him being so happy was almost terrifying. Like, I think he's happy to be here. Is this the game where you see Nick Delorier come out and play some limited minutes to just kind of dangle that little bit of like, don't even think about it?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. One thing I'll mention briefly: great goal by Martinook to end the game. Just so
Mm-hmm.
happy, redemption right there. But when it comes to Game 3, like obviously, when it comes to those questions, like I know there might be some people, and I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong about this. Some people might say, well, because of the 2-day break, we go with Anderson for Game 3. Honestly, I'd probably go with Bussy for Game 3,
Mm-hmm.
mainly for the reason is I kind of want to get it out of the way with, because here's the thing: you don't like. I would love it if we somehow swept Ottawa, really would, but the pressure is more now on Ottawa than it is on Carolina right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with consideration of that pressure, putting in like a guy like Bussy could throw Ottawa's groove off because they're so accustomed to Anderson already for 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know what's going to go on when Bussy steps on to the ice. So I don't think we'll see Bussy, is my guess. I think we're going to see Anderson again, but
Mm-hmm.
I just think you just got to play Bussy now. I think now's a good time to do it. I really do. Just to
I
get it out of the
agree.
way with.
Even beyond getting it out of the way, you don't want him to sit for too long. But also, let's just say that Ottawa comes out guns a blazing. The puck doesn't have a magnet in it whenever Tim Stutzla shoots it. Do you allow Bussy to, hopefully he's going to play great. Hopefully he's going to
Yep.
win.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he gets a shutout, because I think that would just crush them. But say, Ottawa just plays their perfect game. That happens to even great goalies in the playoffs, where there's that one game where they just get lit up. It happens. It's happened to every single great goalie you can think of. Do you allow Bussy to maybe play the role of sacrificial lamb so that Freddie doesn't have to go through that? Because granted, I think we saw Ottawa's fastball in Game 2.
They're
No
going to
doubt
be
that crowd's
angry
going to be
in
rocking.
this game, I think.
Exactly, which is the only reason I bring up the Delorier thing as well, because in normal
Yeah.
circumstances, no way am I taking out what I would assume would be Eric Robinson, who quietly played a really good game in his own right. But that's the only thing that worries me, is that, because as much as I respect what they're building, as much as I respect the talent, 2 games in, all the knuckle dragging talk about how tough Ottawa is, I'm not impressed. I'm really not. I think if I can go ahead and get into one of my tangents about the Kachucks,
Go ahead.
um,
Floor is yours.
holy little brother syndrome, Brady. Oh my goodness. To not even how you play, just the podcasts, the interviews, the oh well, I was there for him when my team sucked and I didn't make the playoffs. So now that my 2-time cup winning brother didn't make the playoffs. He better be there. Um, Brady, you're an Olympic hero. USA, thank you for that gold medal.
Yep.
2 games in, I I'm not impressed, dude. I think the skill is there, but in terms of this, wanting to be a goon, in terms of this wanting to be someone that leads by example with the kind of after the whistle antics, I think you've done. I said it on Twitter. I think he's done things, in particular that thing that led to him getting a penalty.
Which
Chicken
led
shit.
to the Stankoven goal.
Yeah, chicken shit.
Yeah.
Cowardly. Too big to be acting like that. Too big to be skating up to Jackson Blake and acting like you made him flinch because you stopped before you got popped in the nose. Not impressed with Brady Tkachuk. And especially, I don't have children, but I imagine if I did, and I imagine if, again, I goes without saying, do not have the sports career background as a Keith Tkachuk. But I will stay with pride. That's something I was very proud of when I did play basketball in high school, that I protected my teammates. It was very important to me to have that factor in
Oh yeah.
my game. You're watching your son, who you've raised to play like you, who Keith Tkachuk was great player. He's a little bit before a lot of people's times, maybe, but when I was a kid, he was one of like the top tier guys. Man, watching your son punch a Sebastian Aho in the back of the head, that's got to burn a little bit. No, I'd be disappointed in my son because that's not how I raised you.
Maybe, but again, Keith, I can see Keith being like, I'm proud of that because that's probably what I would do if I was. That's probably something I'd probably do, because the thing is with Keith Tkachuk, he was a bit of a scrappy player too, back in his time.
Oh, sure, but I mean, say what you will about Matthew. I think Matthew plays. Granted, I think he turtles a lot in fights, but does it to your face. And does it, that's something that, even though I think the league needs to do things about how Florida has played, going back to my take about Steve Dangle's rant about that whole dynamic. Florida is a bunch of tough SOBs. They're dirty, but they're tough.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why the Ottawa team hasn't impressed me, because you can tell they want to be. And Brady has said this much. They want to be a blend of Carolina and Florida. And I think in both regards, you're just not there. I think you could be, but you're not there. And for Brady to be doing things like that, I'm just really not impressed with who I maybe thought he was based on the Olympics and the Four Nations. Now the series isn't over. And again, one of these takes that might get clipped that I might regret it later, but here and now, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
And,
well, I think the biggest thing with Ottawa right now, with part of why they're down to nothing in the series, is they just don't have the depth. They might have the top end scores in Tkachuk and Sussel, even though they haven't scored yet. They just don't have the depth, because like whenever I see the Jankowski line, I'm like, listen, if they're out there against the Sussel line, are they going to have maybe some problems? Maybe. But if they're out there against Ottawa's fourth line, I can guarantee you they're better. They're just better than Ottawa's fourth line. And I mean, we're already even seeing the depth showing, because Stankoven line, I mean, you could argue that. I mean, the way they're playing, they're acting like a second line, but with Brendan Moore, they're probably the third line in terms of the matchup thing. And Ottawa just doesn't have the response to that. To me, the only player that depth-wise amongst the forward players that I think has played good against us is Warren Foegele. I've actually been impressed with Warren Foegele's game.
Yep. And honestly, that, I can't pull for him, obviously, but I'm happy to see that he's still carving out a role in this league. A lot of good memories with that guy. I think he's 10 years from now, when we're looking back and we play the game of let's just sit here and name some dudes over a beer, Warren Foegele is going to be a great pull.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, great Great win.
The
Andrew, I know
one,
you said your 3 stars. Your
the one last thought I wanted to say about the Kachucks. Sorry, if this goes back to a
three
game
stars,
five,
they were, what was it? Oh,
oh, sorry, technical difficulties for a second there. Um, the one last thing I wanted to say about the Kachucks, and I'll make this quick. If this goes to a game five, I can't be there to start the chant myself, but I need a Matthews better chant because I think that will drive Brady insane. Because the little brother syndrome there is it's as the oldest brother, it's noticeable. Twist that knife because they hate it.
yeah. All righty. Well, you said your 3 stars on Twitter, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Stankoven number 3, Freddie number 2, Martinook number 1. I'm go a little bit different here.
Okay.
I am going to say to me number 3. Honorable mention to honestly probably Sebastian Aho here, but number 3 Stahl. I just thought Stahl played
Okay.
such a great game, played such a heavy game. He was part of the reason why Martinook scored the game-winning goal because he provided net front presence and he made a great pass to Aho. So to me, he's number 3. To me, a number 2 is going to be Anderson. Yes, he let in somewhat of a baddish type of goal there with the second game tying goal, but other than that, he played rock solid up till then. I remember I think Brady Kachuk and Tim Sussel each having just very good plays that Anderson had to stop. What great stops they were. The number 1 has to go to the game winner. And yes, he is the full embodiment of hurricane culture, and that is Jordan Martinook.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a Marty party after that goal. I was just so happy. I will admit, I thought Ottawa was going to win that game. I had that feeling, but Carolina ultimately won, and I was happy.
Carolina, that definitely looked like they were on the ropes for probably factoring in the overtime more than half this game. But
yeah,
that also just kind of shows though that just the resilience and the defensive prowess and the we've been here before that this team has.
and you know that Stutzel. Well, maybe not the Stutzel line, but because I think Travis Green is going to separate Kachuk and Stutzel again.
I think he has to.
Yeah, he has to for home ice advantage. But I think that Kachuk line, I mean, you're going to want to keep that line away from the Stahl line. You just are. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's going to go after either the Jankowski line or the Stankoven line with that line.
I'm guessing the Stankoven line. I'm guessing
it's probably going to be Stankoven. So, yeah.
It's the only reason why I brought up Delorier is I would not be surprised if Brady tries to take advantage of that line in game 3. Now he's going to run into a rude surprise that I think Stankoven. I would not want to square up with that dude. I don't care if he would have to jump to pop me in the nose. That punch is going to hurt. That kid is so tough, man. And I become a bigger fan of his every single game. I'm so happy that he's locked up for this team for the extended period. And if he's not already considered a core piece, he's going to be.
Oh yeah, he definitely.
He and Blake both.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which on the topic, Jackson Blake, shoot the damn puck.
Yes, please shoot it. But yeah, great win. We're up to nothing in the series, and now we are go on to Ottawa for game number 3.